Very good morning. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are doing well. Wanted to end the week with some nail school. So what I plan to do is use a couple of the products that you guys got from your mystery box and kind of incorporate it into a random design, show you guys how you can actually take some of the XXX white and clear and create kind of a smoky background. Obviously a killer way to create an awesome background for whatever design you're going to be doing. But let me show you guys how you're going to be able to execute this design. All right, so what we're gonna do is, let's go ahead and prep this nail. So I went ahead and clipped that off, and then what I'm gonna do is take my electric file and I'm gonna remove shine from the surface of the nail. All right, so just come around the edge and then use a light feathering motion to tickle this from corner to corner. All right, so again, you wanna be gentle. It has to be, again, non-aggressive. And then once you're done doing that, what we're gonna do is take swipe, and then you could use swipe to clean the surface of the nail before you go into protein bond, right? Boom. So once we're done removing shine, you can see how the surface turns kind of a chalky white. That's what's gonna happen to your natural nails as well. All right, so what we're gonna end up doing is taking protein bond and applying a nice even coat from cuticle to free edge. You're gonna do this on all 10 nails and then come back and do the same thing. All right, so what we're gonna do is kind of create, you know, a cloud design or a marble. You can incorporate this with glitter. You could really do everything to make this. There's many different options, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take Speed Clear here, and then we have Core XXX White. This is really intense. So you can see the difference between the both powders. One is going to be ultra clear. All right, so again, you know, ultra clear by setting that down, and then you have something that is ultra white. If I was to drop that into the center, you can see the difference between the both. All right, boom, looks like an egg. All right, so what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to kind of marbleize the acrylic and do this thin. This is a great way for you to kind of understand how to marbleize color. If you're doing it with white and clear, it's for all of you guys that are starting and learning, there's no better way to do this than with, again, two extremes, one crystal and one super white. So I'm gonna get my form, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Speed Clear. Going to get it, you can see it on one side of the brush. I'm gonna dab off the excess, and then what I wanna be able to do is I wanna be able to set this down flush and then use the body of the brush, right? So this part of the brush right here to walk it from the top so that I can get this nice and tight to the corner. It's not gonna get away from you. You can see how I'm able to hold that side. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna get it even with this growth channel, then use the body of the brush. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk it from the top to the corner. So once I've established that, it really is a matter of just kind of using the body just to kind of guide, extend by kind of brushing out. But what I've done is I've established a beautiful free edge to work off of. And I want this as clear as possible, okay? Now, if I'm gonna be working with any color on the surface, what I could do is take a thin amount of clear, and let's just say that we want to kind of create a full well tip. So I'll just set this behind. I'll literally just kind of brush this all the way through. And depending on how much you're going to be working, if you're doing any color on the natural nail, sometimes it would be good to get more acrylic. And again, if I'm setting this farther back, I want to be able to just kind of brush this on while it's wet. And what that's going to do is it's going to establish a really good bond all the way around here and establish, as you can see, a really, really flat kind of working area. If I use the body of my brush to just kind of pat everything out, you can see how flat everything is. You could see that my growth channels are going to be completely straight on the sides. And what this sets me up for is basically something to do marble on the surface. Okay, so what I'm going to do, once I have this on, I'm now going to take a combination of all the colors. And I'm going to do this in small wet beads. So I have clear in the back. I have really, really intense white right here. And what I'm going to do is take, again, maybe a couple drops of each, set this down. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of work it around. All right. And then all I'm just trying to do is create maybe just a little bit of clear here, a little bit of white on top, and just kind of dragging this through to kind of create this really nice kind of marbled, as you can see, combination between white and clear. And I'm not overworking it. I'm just kind of running my brush kind of through the surface, right, so that it stays like that. And I'm going to work it all the way as far back as I possibly can, right? So a little bit of clear, again here, a little bit of white, just lightly tap, and then just kind of lightly kind of mix this in all the way around. Boom. All right, as you can see, and then last but not least, I'll grab one small one right here for the back end, and that way it's not like going to, then I'm just using the tip of my brush just to kind of pull through, and boom, you can see how I've established, again, this really nice kind of smoked background with a combination of all these colors. Yeah, there might be some areas that are a little bit higher than others, but you can see how thin everything is. So what I want to be able to do is, once I establish this awesome background, then what I'm going to end up doing is taking the clear powder and coming over the top and capping it. That way I don't file into my design. So to build the structure, what we're going to end up doing is taking a large amount of speed clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, release, use the tip of the brush to walk around, guide the pearl, guide the pearl, guide the pearl, guide the pearl. And then what I'm doing is just kind of guiding, and then I can really start pulling through. And then as I pull through to kind of fill everything in, you can see that I'm able to get a really nice overlay from cuticle area to free edge without really having to kind of overwork the product. I'm allowing the product to kind of flow into place. And this also gives me the opportunity to use the body of the brush to walk it like nice and even from side to side. You know, if I do have to brush back to kind of taper some of the thickness at the free edge, you know, back into the stress area, I can do that. But what I'm really trying to do is establish a decent overlay so that I don't have that much, you can see, I don't have that much filing. I trust the run. Boom. So that's what we want to be able to do. And the level of clarity, you can see, once I file that out, you're going to have that beautiful kind of smoke design all the way through. So again, all I'm doing is using speed clear and XXX white. You know, I don't have to use anything else. And those are the same products that you got inside your mystery box. It's crazy how many different things you can do. Now, you'll notice, and even next week, what we'll end up doing, I'll show you guys something really cool. One thing you can practice is layering. So what I used to do is I used to take tips. This is a way of establishing kind of a really nice background, but let's say that you're, right, so one thing you can do is you can take the speed white, and then I'll dab off the excess. And then what I'll do is I'll just kind of set this down, right, and then, you know, I'll literally kind of walk this down to the side, give this a chance to set, all right, and then what I'm doing is, you can see I don't want to attack it right away because I know that the product is still, it's still going to stick to my brush. I need to give this a chance to settle. But what I'm going to do is I'll use the body of my brush really to put a lot of pressure here at the base. Boom. And then I'll just start really putting a lot of pressure down at the bottom and then pushing up at the top. And what it does is it creates kind of that fold. You can see how it's thicker on top compared to how thin it is. Now, what I like to do is once I get it to that point, then it really is a matter of taking a brush, right? The gel brush is great because what I can do is I could use this to really kind of push up here and kind of keep this area nice and thin. Folding this. And then what you can do once you actually have it set like this, then you could set another bead across here. And what I mean by that is if I take another bead, this is a great way of adding dimension to the nail, but if I take another bead, I'm just going to come back for just a little bit more powder. And let's say I set this down here and then I walk this up to the edge. All right. So you can start from here, you can start from the top and work yourself down, but give this a chance to sit, right? So a great way, and again, is if you have a little bit, especially if you're doing color powder, you can see I'm just kind of drawing out that line, giving this a chance to settle. And then as it starts to settle, then you could use the body of the brush and start putting pressure down below. And this ledge, as you can see right here, ends up like you're creating these waves. So you can start from the top, work it all the way down and create dimension. I'm just showing you because it does take a little bit of time, but there's so many different things. We'll do a design with this next week because it does take time to actually do. But you can see as I'm using the body of my brush and I'm pushing it thin here, and as everything starts to set, then I could start to use a much maybe thinner brush really to kind of push this up towards the ledge. It doesn't have to be completely straight, keeping it thin at the bottom. But you see how I'm creating these ledges right here, right? So if you start here at the top corner, really, really thin, and then you start working all the way down, then you can start to build this really cool dimension. And you can even start to see, you can see how thin it is. So I'm just using this as an example so that you guys can see it's cool what you can do with the white. And you can see how nice this ledge is right inside here, this really cool shelf that you're creating. And the reason why you're able to create that shelf is because the bottom, this area right here on this top area is super thin. So it gives me room to kind of work. All right, really cool. It's just kind of a 3D technique. This is dry, so let's just go ahead and file this into shape. Show you guys how to execute proper finish in the least amount of time. So this, again, you need to make sure it's completely tight all the way in. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to use my hand file. I need contact straight on both sides, making sure that you can see that I have a straight ledge. You can see that straight ledge is running from this point all the way to here. If I decide that I want to kind of taper that front end, I could just hold it. My lower arches, you can see how low they hang from the bottom of the growth channel. I'm going to start here. I'm going to make sure I have contact all the way until my hand file gets to that lower arch. I'm going to do the same thing on the opposing side. All right, contact parallel to the finger. Making sure that I have contact all the way through so that the extension of my lower arch is going to be absolutely straight. So once I have my sidewalls, the front end, and the lower arches absolutely straight, it's a matter of taking the electric file and filing this into perfection. So what we want to be able to do, we want to be able to switch this out. Let me grab my safety bit really fast. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go ahead and get our safety bit on. Boom. I'm gonna keep a little bit of space because we have a little bit of length. I'm gonna run my electric file around 12,000 RPMs. I'm right-handed, so I work in forward. I'm looking at the side profile. All right, so what I wanna be able to do, you can see like even here, right, it's all good. I just wanna make sure that my edges are completely straight. I'm gonna take down that back end. I'm filing in one direction towards myself. I want to make sure that my upper arch is going to be completely dialed. I'm looking down the barrel of the nail. I want to be able to come in one direction towards myself, right? You can see how thick the edges are. That's absolutely fine. So I'm going to be using the barrel to come all the way through just to make sure that everything is going to be even from side to side, okay? And you can already start to see like how everything is really kind of swirling out into perfection. And then when I'm working around the cuticle area, I'm using again zone 1 of my barrel. I'm working around one direction, all the way through, and then follow through the balance of the nail in one direction, and I have a majority of the bulk taken down. Okay, so last but not least, we're gonna take our hand file. I'm gonna go around the perimeter. We're going to make sure that we have a nice, again, flush cuticle area. Flush meaning I can't take my fingernail and get stuck behind. I want to make sure that the cuticle area is going to be tight and then come through and follow through. You guys know how I break down both sides. Break down this side to get it nice and even. Contact going up on the right side here. And then it's really a matter of just kind of refining everything into perfection. You can see when I bring everything straight forward, right? You can start to see how we're going to get my edges absolutely straight. You can see my side walls are going to be really straight on that side, all the way down and through. But you can see once I wipe this, what I want to be able to do at this point is I want to look down this profile and I want to be able to file it here so that I can see whether it's going to be absolutely even from side to side without having to remove that. All right, let's go ahead and wipe this real fast. All right, you can really start to see like all the marbleizing inside. Just again, all it is a combination between white and clear. Doesn't have to be, you're not trying to make this perfect, right? To try to create this marble design. The cuticle areas don't have to be perfect. The body doesn't have to be perfect. All you're trying to do is establish a really kind of cool background. You can incorporate glitter into the mix. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Let's go ahead and get a top gel. As you can see, just want to be able to show off what that looks like. And you can see the swirls inside the white and the clear. A great way, again, to use your powders to do something different. You can't imagine what it would look like if you're incorporating a ton of glitters and different effects. And you could always use this as a background to paint some really, really cool floral effects around the edges. All right. Hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Again, it's about experimentation. It's about taking the existing products you have and trying to figure out a way to do something different. And it's not about doing a whole set like that, right? It's about using the products to create. Again, you could do ring finger and you could do index finger, and then you have your middle finger, pinky, and thumb maybe as beautiful nude nails. Great way to highlight the nails for all the parties that are coming up this holiday season. Play around with it, see what you could do. I look forward to seeing the results you guys have. Again, if you guys have any questions, hit me up. For those of you guys, again, that are interested in Zoom classes, make sure to get a hold of Ray Bracken-Montez here at home office. He'll be able to dial you guys in, and looking forward to all of next week. Thanks for your time. I appreciate you guys. I love you much. I'll see you soon. Peace.